Earlier this year, back in March, my boyfriend and I bought a van. We had dreamt of renovating it and traveling across the country, and with plenty of trips to Home Depot and lots of researching on YouTube University, we made it happen. We had both been juggling multiple jobs for a while. I was working at the ski area in the day and a kids program in the evening and busting out YouTube videos whenever I had the chance to. And I was just ready to go, and he was too. We were both getting a little bit restless and were just craving an adventure to go on together, and that's how our van life chapter came about. We have both learned so much from our time doing van life, and I'm so grateful for the memories we made and the people that we met, but now it's coming to an end. To me, this video is a conclusion to one chapter, but an introduction to the next. Living with your significant other in a vehicle will either make it or break it. But I'm happy to say it made it. Taking the step of moving in together in any relationship is a big test, but taking the step to living together in a vehicle is so different. Mason and I have always been the type of couple that have just been hip to hip, like we do everything together, we're best friends, but we also have always had our separate spaces. So living in a vehicle like really brought us closer, both literally and relationship-wise. We had been together about 9 months whenever we started doing van life. I think, yeah, that's about right. Van life with your significant other is a great test to see if they're the one. This one's a little bit of a silly one, but it's necessary. Lesson number 2. Don't use dry ice to cool your food. So we used an ice box to keep our food cold, and we used ice, but it kept on melting and it got all the food soggy and it was disgusting, and we were like, well, let's try dry ice. So we tried dry ice and we're like, wow, it's not melting, the food's like perfect. The dry ice ended up carbonating all of our food. So I took a bite of an apple and I'm like, Mason, does this apple taste like kind of like chemical-y to you? And he took a bite and he's like, whoa, it's like carbonated. Maybe if we like separated it a little bit better or concealed the food a little bit better, it would have worked, but it was a flop. We gave up and we went back to the soggy ice. Lesson number 3, just say hello. My favorite just say hello story was on top of the Blue Ridge Parkway. We were driving into Asheville and we decided to stop at the top to take in the view because it was just drop dead gorgeous. And we look over and we see this guy in a van, probably in his 40s or 50s, and we say hello. And he ended up inviting us to have tea with him, and we drank tea on top of the Blue Ridge Mountains for like 2 hours, and we just talked to him about life and about ideas and what we thought of the world. And that will forever be one of the most meaningful and memorable conversations I ever had with a stranger, and now that stranger is a friend, so you never know where a hello can go. Lesson number 4, home is where the van is. Or more like, learn to find home wherever you go, because you're not always gonna get to have the comforts of home, but if you're able to find little touches of comfort all around you and little touches of happiness all around you, then soon the whole world starts to feel like a big old home. And it is our home, so might as well enjoy it. Lesson 5, seek discomfort. The amount of times that we had some sort of uncomfortable situation or problem that needed to be solved when we were living in the van. It basically happened every day, and eventually it got to the point where I was excited for the next problem and the next little segment of discomfort because it made me learn and boosted my confidence. Specifically starting the van, it was very uncomfortable because I didn't have a lot of experience with power tools and I didn't have a lot of experience with building. It's good to take time to learn new skills, specifically the skills that you don't really want to do because they're the ones that end up making you grow the most. Lesson 6. Take the road less traveled by. Listen, Robert Frost was onto something. The road less traveled by is the road to go to. There were so many times where we could have gotten there quicker, faster, less trouble by taking like the easier roads. A lot of the pretty views that I've seen in the past few months wouldn't have been there if I didn't take the road less traveled by. So you know, maybe go on the less convenient route because you never know what you might find. Lesson number 7. Don't take the little things for granted. People say it all the time, but it's so true. We really do take everything we have for granted. And living in a van really brought that up and showed us that. It's never clean in the van. You're never at the right temperature that you want to be at. If you're hot, you want to be cold, but you can't be cold because it's too hot, and vice versa. You rarely get to showers and filter your own water. You get a flat tire, you get some other car problem because you're driving it so much. It was a lot of work for the simple things. Living in a house doesn't really bring this kind of stuff up, but whenever you live on the road, it shows us how many things we take for granted in our daily life. So, you know, just be appreciative of stuff like that. Number 8, internet isn't real. Just kidding, internet is real, but once you go without it, you really realize how not important it is. There's just so much more to the world than the internet. And once you're on the internet, it kind of seems like the whole world is the internet. But once you get off of it, you're like, wow, that is just such a small % of our whole existence. I've already thought this for quite some time now, but it really reiterated the fact that we should focus less on who we are online and more on who we are in the real world. Lesson number 9, notice the positive, attract the positive. Once you start to notice the positive things, you start to attract the positive things. The same could go for negativity, and I think that's how we get stuck in that negative mindset, is because you notice the negatives and then you're like, why do negative things keep happening to me? So pay attention to what you're putting your energy into, because that plays a big role in what you receive. And finally, lesson number 10 is that people place too much focus on material things. These days, our feed is just flooded with hauls and collection videos and just videos of people accumulating so much stuff that it just makes us think, oh, I want that too, and I want that, and I need that, and I need that. And we're just constantly trying to follow up with the trends, but the trends are changing every day, and we're never satisfied with the stuff that we get, and we never will be satisfied. So it's time that we realize no amount of things will ever make us happy. True happiness comes from being at peace with yourself. Van life was going great, there's no doubt about that. Seeing new things, making friends, but then we just started to feel like we hit this plateau, and plateaus are fine, but something just felt off. We sat down, we had a discussion, and we came to the conclusion that the life that we were living was no longer lining up with our long-term and short-term goals. We were so thankful for our journey, but we kind of just knew that it was time to cut ties with our floating lifestyle. So we said goodbye to van life, and we signed a lease, and now we're renting an apartment together, and we both have jobs doing what we love, working with kids, and I start college online in the fall. We still have the van because number 1, it's Mason's car, and number 2, we worked really hard on it and we're really proud of it, and we still plan to go on trips in it in the future. Summer's coming to an end, the seasons are slowing down, and so are we. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to my ode to the road, concluding the van life chapter. It was fun, it was a good run, and I'm excited for what's next. So I hope to see you guys again soon, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Bye. Also, look at these mountains. Crazy! Wait, there's more over here. Oh, gorgeous. Okay, bye.